Her locker clicked open with a soft clink, but the hallway behind her was a storm waiting to explode. It was just another Monday morning at Westbrook High. The halls buzzed with chatter and the occasional slamming of locker doors. For most, it was business as usual. But for Emily, every school day was a test of patience, endurance, and survival. Emma was quiet, the kind of quiet that made people uncomfortable. She never raised her hand in class, never joined group chats, and never retaliated when people whispered behind her back. Her straight black hair often covered her face like a curtain, her books were always hugged tightly to her chest, and her sneakers were worn down at the edges, signs of someone who walked through the world trying not to be noticed. But bullies always notice. They called her names. China doll, mute mouse, library ghost. Harmless words, maybe, until they weren't. It escalated. They started accidentally bumping into her. Tripping her. Spilling water on her books. Still, Emma didn't react. That's what made them mad. And one day, they took it too far. It happened in the hallway right before third period. Emma was getting her geometry textbook from her locker when Brittany, the queen bee with the blinding white smile and venom in her voice, strutted over with her crew. Tyler, the jock who thought pain was funny. Mia, the echo who laughed on command. And Nate, who never looked her in the eye but followed along anyway. Nice shirt, Emma, Brittany said, sarcasm dripping. Thrift store's finest. Emma didn't answer. She reached for her locker door. Tyler slammed it shut. Mia snatched the geometry book from her hands and dropped it to the floor. Emma's breath caught. Then Brittany grabbed her by the shoulder and spun her around. Before Emma could step back, she heard a loud rip. The sound of cloth tearing. Cold air hit her back. Gasps echoed through the hallway. Brittany stood there holding a torn piece of Emma's shirt, smirking. Oops, she said. Maybe next time wear something that doesn't fall apart. Laughter exploded around them. But Emma didn't run. She didn't cry. She didn't say a word. Instead, she slowly set her books on the ground. Her face was calm. Her hands were steady. Emma. Nate mumbled, suddenly unsure. Then, in a flash, she moved. Brittany's eyes widened as Emma grabbed her wrist, twisted it, and in one clean motion flipped her onto the floor. Hard. Gasps turned to stunned silence. Tyler lunged forward, but Emma ducked and swept his legs out from under him. He hit the ground with a grunt, the wind knocked out of him. Mia backed up, tripping over her own feet. Nate froze, hands raised, his face pale. Emma stood tall. Her shirt was torn, her hair was a mess, but her posture was strong, rooted. She looked like someone who had been pushed too far, and had decided enough was enough. I asked my parents to put me in judo 5 years ago, she said, her voice quiet but steady. Not to fight. Just in case I ever needed to defend myself. A teacher finally rushed in, followed by the school officer. The crowd began to buzz again. Some students started filming. The bullies scrambled to explain themselves. But the damage was done, to their pride, their reputations, and their illusion of power. Emma wasn't suspended. The school launched a full investigation. Witnesses stepped up. Videos surfaced. Brittany was suspended for 2 weeks. Tyler got detention and was barred from sports temporarily. Mia broke down crying when her parents were called. And Nate, he found Emma in the library 2 days later. I'm sorry, he said, eyes on the floor. I didn't stop them. I should have. Emma looked at him, the edges of her calm face softening. You still can, she said. From that day, everything changed. People started saying hi to Emma in the halls. Not out of fear. Out of respect. Nate joined the school's peer mentoring program. Emma joined the self-defense club as a volunteer teacher. Her story spread beyond Westbrook High. A local news station interviewed her. I don't want revenge, she said on camera. I want people to know their worth. You don't have to be loud to be strong. The bullies had torn her shirt. But they had also torn away the silence she had been wrapped in for years. And underneath was strength. Courage. Fire. Emma had never wanted to be a hero. But sometimes, quiet people are the loudest when it matters most. Moral of the story. Strength isn't about shouting. It's about knowing when to stand up, and for what. Emma's story is a reminder that being quiet doesn't mean being weak, and even the smallest spark can start a fire that changes everything. Everyone knew her, or thought they did. Mia Harper. The quiet girl. The one who always sat at the back of the class, kept her head down, and never raised her hand. The one who wore faded jeans and hoodies 3 sizes too big. She barely spoke, never laughed loudly, and never got into anyone's way. But what no one knew, what no one bothered to know, was that Mia used to be someone entirely different. The first time Mia walked into Westfield High, her palms were sweaty and her backpack weighed 1,000 pounds, not because of the books, but because of the anxiety. A new school, new people, and a past she desperately wanted to leave behind. She had just moved from a smaller town after her father's passing. Her mother worked 2 jobs just to keep them afloat. The grief of losing him was still fresh, like a wound that refused to close. Her dad had been her hero. A judo coach. Her teacher. Her protector. But with him gone, she had slowly withdrawn from the world. She stopped going to judo practice. Stopped smiling. She let the silence grow inside her, because in the silence, she didn't have to pretend she was okay. At Westfield, that silence made her invisible, until it made her a target. Sasha Morgan. That name carried weight in the hallways. Her blonde curls, expensive clothes, and Instagram-perfect life made her the queen bee of Westfield High. Lexi and Brooke followed her like shadows. And when they first noticed Mia, quiet, awkward, thrift shop Mia, it was like they smelled blood. "Look at her shoes," Lexi whispered on Mia's 3rd day, laughing. "Did she pull those out of a dumpster?" "She probably lives in one," Brooke added. Mia heard every word. But she kept her eyes down and walked away. That should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. Over the next few weeks, the bullying escalated. They tripped her in the cafeteria, accidentally knocked her books from her arms, drew cruel things on her locker, and spread false rumors online that she talked to herself, that she was crazy, that she had lice. Most people ignored it. Some even laughed along. A few looked away, uncomfortable but unwilling to step in. But the worst part wasn't what they did. It was how alone Mia felt. There were days she cried in the girls' bathroom, holding a hand over her mouth so no one would hear. There were nights she stared at the ceiling, begging the universe for a way out. Her mom tried her best, but she was always working, always tired. "Just keep your head down," she would say. "This will pass." But it didn't pass. It got worse. It happened on a Friday. Mia had stayed late after school for an art project. By the time she got to her locker, the hallway was nearly empty, except for Sasha, Lexi, and Brooke. They were waiting. Mia paused when she saw them, hoping they'd ignore her. But Sasha stepped forward, grinning. "Ah, look who finally came out of hiding."